UFC Fight Night Vegas 31, Makhachev versus Moises just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of Islam Badout versus Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira. Islam Badout was actually looking really good in the first round, but Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira made a great comeback in round 2, and honestly, somewhat reinvented himself in the middle of the rounds. In round 2, he looked very calculated, very calm, very composed, waited for his moments, found the right shots. In round 1, he looked a little bit sloppy, and actually, Islam Badout really did whoop him up quite badly in that first round. Nascimento was just not landing good shots, leaving himself open here and there, and Badout was capitalizing, landing some good wild haymakers on Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira. Had him hurt a couple of times in that first round. Even Nascimento failed a couple of takedowns on Islam Badout, and Badout would land a couple of good shots as Nascimento was trying to recover from the failed takedowns. Then round 2 came around, and it was a completely different story. I was worried for a second that maybe Islam Badout would gas out after that first round, and that's exactly what happened. But in that first round, he looked good. In the second round, the experience of Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira showed. He recomposed himself, and he looked way better in round 2. In round 1, he was open. He wasn't looking too good. In round 2, very composed, very crisp, very tight striking, landed the shots where he needed to, and then finished with some great combinations against the cage of Islam Badout, and then landed some good uppercuts, put him down, finished him on the ground. Second round TKO for Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira. Good shots, man. Both guys did okay. Nascimento was just a little bit more composed out there, a little bit more experienced, and got the job done because of it. I picked him to win by second round submission. He got the win by second round TKO. I say keep both guys on. Of course, Islam Badout, maybe give him one more chance, maybe against Greg Hardy. But Nascimento Ferreira, man, he's a good opponent. He called out Chase Sherman. Maybe that'll be a good fight to make next. I think Chase Sherman has a fight coming up soon, but if he doesn't, or if he wins, we can make this matchup next for sure. Good win by Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira to kick off the card. Moving on up the card, Francisco Figueiredo versus Malcolm Gordon. Right, I had a parlay with a lot of fighters in, 5 fighters on the card. If it won, I would have turned £15 into £290. Francisco Figueiredo did shit. I know Malcolm Gordon won, and well done, Malcolm Gordon, you saved your career. In all honesty, if Malcolm Gordon lost, he would have been cut by the UFC. This was supposed to be a layup for Francisco Figueiredo. This was supposed to be, okay, Figueiredo, we're building your name. You're the younger brother of Davis and Figueiredo. You're a little bit past your prime. Not past your prime, but you're in your prime right now, so we've got to rush you along. But we don't want to rush you to the top guys because you're not as good as your brother Davison. But this was a free win, or as it should have been a free win for Francisco Figueiredo over Malcolm Gordon. He threw the fight every single round. I've never seen more stupid decision-making skills in that cage since Justin James versus Charles Rosa. In the first round, he's on top, dominating and controlling Malcolm Gordon, landing good elbows of ground and pound here and there. At the end of the round, with 2 minutes left, he just straight up pulls guard into a leg lock for no reason at all. He could have just stayed on top, kept landing good shots on Malcolm Gordon, who had nothing for him on bottom. It's not like Malcolm Gordon almost had a triangle and Francisco Figueiredo had to pull out of it. Francisco Figueiredo straight up threw away that fight in stupidity. Just moments of absolute fucking stupidity. First round, he goes for the leg lock. Second round was close. I might have actually given him the second round because he looked like he hurt Malcolm Gordon to the body, but even then, he got taken down at the end of round 2. Round 3, he reverses position at the end of round 3, ends up on top, and then does some pathetic ground and pound shots to end the round. You're behind. You need to win round 3. He had his hands up afterwards. It wasn't even close, in all honesty. In rounds 1 and 3, it was clearly Malcolm Gordon's rounds. Round 3, Figueiredo at the end of that round, when he had that top position and had that position of control against a cage, should have been raining down ground and pound shots. He just lightly tapped the back of Malcolm Gordon's head. I've never seen worse fight IQ in my life. And straight up, I'm never picking Francisco Figueiredo again. You can't fix retardation. And that's what he has. Moving on up the card, though. Khalid Taha versus Sergey Morozov. I picked Sergey Morozov by decision. He got the job done by decision. Very good fight, though. Khalid Taha was scrappy. He was in there. He was trying to make stuff happen. But Sergey Morozov just a little bit better each and every round. Just edged out every round. Better control time. Better takedowns. He controlled for 8 minutes over nothing for Khalid Taha. And just better shots on the feet as well. Khalid Taha would have some good moments where maybe he would land a couple of good shots. I picked Sergey Morozov as the underdog. He had a couple of good check hooks in this fight, landed some good shots on Khalid Taha, some good straight shots right down the pipe. Taha looked rocked a couple of times, but then again, Morozov looked rocked at one point as well. Both guys did pretty good. Khalid Taha just got out-hustled and outworked every single round with the grappling. Morozov's just a way better grappler than Khalid Taha, and he showed what he's all about. Great win by Sergey Morozov. It makes Umar Nurmagomedov look really, really good, because a lot of people viewed Sergey Morozov as just a can that was fed to Umar Nurmagomedov. Now they're realizing Sergey Morozov is a threat to be reckoned with in his own right, and it makes Umar look even better. So great win by Sergey Morozov. Just out-grinding, out-hustling Khalid Taha every single round. There wasn't too much else to it. He just wanted it a little bit more, it seemed, and had a little bit more in the tank. Moving on up the card, Amanda Lemos versus Montserrat Ruiz. I picked Amanda Lemos, and I picked Sergey Morozov as well, by the way. I picked Amanda Lemos by first round TKO. I said it would be an early stoppage. I said Amanda Lemos is going to drop Montserrat Ruiz, and they're going to stop it early. I literally, in my last minute detailed prediction and breakdown video, check it on my channel, last minute predictions for UFC Vegas 31, I literally said that word for word. I cannot believe I got it. It was a bit of an early stoppage. Montserrat Ruiz pops right back up to her feet, but afterwards, it's when it was justified a bit more. Like, it was an early stoppage in the moment where you see her just pop back up to her feet like nothing happened. And then she sort of Shane Burgoses her way back into the cage and starts stumbling around a little bit. And then it's like, maybe that was the right call. But if that was a male fight, you know for a fact, everyone would be screaming robbery. Screaming robbery, screaming bad stoppage, screaming early stoppage. But then again, Amanda Lemos was probably going to finish it anyway. Great power in her hands, man. Amanda Lemos, I think that's 3-0 in the UFC. 3 finishes as well. Really good stuff from Amanda Lemos. 2 finishes in the first round by KO in a row. In the women's strawweight division, you don't see this stuff often. She's definitely going to be a threat to be reckoned with. Good win by Amanda Lemos. Exactly how I said it would happen. Moving on up the card. Daniel Rodriguez versus Preston Parsons. I picked D-Rod. I picked him by second round submission after beating up Preston Parsons. I thought Preston Parsons would shoot a bad takedown and get front choked or dash choked or something like that. But Daniel Rodriguez just wasted no time out there, man. And Preston Parsons, credit to him, man. I said this, he's actually a good fighter. This isn't like some random Matinho that was brought in on short notice. Like, Preston Parsons is on a 4-fight win streak on the regional scene. He beat some good opponents with good records, some undefeated opponents in his career as well. He's actually decently okay. 9-2 opponent, good regional guy. And D-Rod just showed him the fucking ropes, man. Cracked him in the eye really badly. Looked like he shattered the orbital of Preston Parsons. But yeah, Preston Parsons brought it, landed a couple of good shots of his own, a couple of good haymakers over the top, but he missed a lot of them as well, which is mainly where the problems were. He gassed out quite quickly here. I know he took it on short notice, but I think he also gassed out a bit because he failed so many takedowns out there. I think he failed, what, 2, 3? He failed 4 takedowns against Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod just had great takedown defense. Eventually, Preston Parsons realized, I can't beat him on the feet, I can't beat him on the ground. I've got a shattered orbital bone, and D-Rod just started unloading on him against the cage. Finished the job in the first round by TKO. Great job by Daniel Rodriguez. We'll talk about who gets the performance bonuses and fight of the night at the end of it. But D-Rod gets it done. Another correct pick on the prelims. I went 4-1. If Figueiredo won, I would have £300 right now, and I don't, and I'm pissed off. Moving on to the main card. Gabriel Benitez versus Billy Quarantillo. Great scrap. I think this one was fight of the night, most definitely. Gabriel Benitez showed up, but Billy Quarantillo was just too much pressure. I picked Billy Quarantillo to win as an underdog. I thought his grinding style would just be a little bit too much for Gabriel Benitez, and it turns out it was. But listen, man, Gabriel Benitez was in that fight, even though he was losing, and I thought he was losing 10-8 rounds. The judges, who, I don't know how they gave Poirier McGregor 10-8 in round 1 if they don't give Billy Quarantillo any 10-8 rounds. Like, fair enough, maybe not round 2, but I thought round 2 could have been a 10-8 as well. But round 1, he whooped Benitez on the feet. He dropped him on the feet, badly dropped Gabriel Benitez on the feet. Then he smashed him on the ground, took his back, went for rear naked chokes non-stop, and constantly landed ground and pound from the back control. How is that not a 10-8 round? I have no idea. But either way, Billy Quarantillo just whooped up Gabriel Benitez really well. First round was great. Total strikes, 179 for Billy Quarantillo to 67 of Gabriel Benitez. Round 2, Quarantillo whooped him up again on the feet. But again, I was worried for Quarantillo in this fight because he was getting cracked here and there. And he was getting hit to the body a lot by Gabriel Benitez. But he was also doing some body work back. Just a really good win by Billy Quarantillo, man. Non-stop work, non-stop pressure, never let Gabriel Benitez set his ground and start landing some good shots. Just constantly walked him down, made Benitez back up the whole time, which makes him uncomfortable. And then in the third round, Benitez actually dropped Billy Quarantillo in the start of it, but Quarantillo works his way back into it, gets the takedown again, starts smashing Benitez on the ground even more. And then they just stopped the fight. I don't know why they stopped the fight. I think it's because the doctor came in and told the referee, hey, Mark Smith, he's got a shattered orbital bone, I think. If he starts taking some shots to that bone, just stop the fight because we don't want this injury. And I guess that's what they told Mark Smith. Just if he does take some unanswered shots to that eye on the ground, just step in there. We don't want this guy going to the hospital when he doesn't need to. So they stopped the fight. He was getting dominated anyway, but I don't know, I feel like these stoppages are getting weird. Like, stop it when something big happens. Because now there's no highlight for Billy Quarantillo. The highlight is him hammer fisting from back control. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, it shouldn't have been stopped, but they stopped it. I get it. He was getting beaten up the whole time. I understand. But no 10-8 rounds, apparently, so maybe not. Maybe he wasn't getting beaten up. What the fuck do I know? Moving on up the card. Rodolfo Vieira versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Again, if Stoltzfus won, I'd have 300, I believe. Another one that let me down here in another parlay. Rodolfo Vieira got the submission in the third round, though, man. I was a little bit upset at the time because I thought it was on its way for a Stoltzfus victory. I had it 1-1. I thought Stoltzfus actually won the first round, in my opinion. And here he actually did clearly outland Rodolfo Vieira, 34-23 on significant strikes. Had a really good ending to round 1, so I definitely thought he won the first round of the fight. But then Rodolfo Vieira, second round, started landing that jab more often. I thought he won the second round with some good moments there. Round 3, Stoltzfus looked like he was defending the takedown quite well. Looked like he could have been on his way to winning that round as well. It looked like Vieira was a little bit gassed out. Vieira gets the back in a certain scramble and takes the back and gets the rear naked choke. Just like that. Round 3. So quickly it happened. I thought Stoltzfus was going to cruise his way to a win like I predicted him to, but man, Rodolfo Vieira showed good upgrades on his cardio. You got to admit, his jab looks really good. That's something I want to mention here. The jab was really good from Rodolfo Vieira. But man, that would have been a good underdog pick of Dustin Stoltzfus, but man, anything can happen in MMA. You give up your back for a second against a guy like Rodolfo Vieira after defending so well in the first 2 rounds. You can't give up your back for a split second. And Vieira just seized the opportunity and took it, man. I thought he was going to lose after the first round, so credit. He's improved his cardio, definitely. I don't think he's going to be a champion or anything, but he's a good contender in the middleweight division, so good win. We'll see what happens in the future for Rodolfo Vieira. Good rear naked choke. Seized the moment, took the opportunity, and got the job done. Moving on up the card. Jeremy Stephens versus Matthew Gamrot. Or Mateusz Gamrot. I went with Matthew Gamrot. I thought he was going to get a TKO in round 3 after out-grappling Jeremy Stephens early. I said he would have a massive grappling display against Jeremy Stephens. I thought he would completely dominate him in the grappling in the first 2 rounds. But, he did more than that. I did not expect this. He got a first round submission by Kimura, and it was easy. He dropped down, he grabbed the ankle of Jeremy Stephens, picked it up like it's not Jeremy Stephens. Like he's not even fighting the hardest hitting 145er. The real hardest hitting 145er right here. Like he's not even fighting the real hardest hitting 145er right here. Mateusz Gamrot picked him up with the leg, single leg, hoisted it above his head, took Jeremy Stephens to the ground, got on top, got in a good position. Stephens went for a Kimura of his own on bottom, which leaves you open actually for a Kimura from the other guy, which I actually mentioned while I was live watching the fight. I was like, Jeremy Stephens is going for a Kimura, but this kind of leaves him open for a Kimura himself. He needs to get a good position on the ground. He didn't do it fast enough, and Mateusz Gamrot seized the opportunity, took the arm and ripped it off nearly, and Jeremy Stephens taps in the first round, and there's not much he could do about it. 1 minute in, Matthew Gamrot gets the submission in Kimura fashion, round 1. Very dominant win. I want to see him versus Damir Ismagulov next. Winner of that one gets in the rankings at number 15. Maybe takes Thiago Moises' spot. I wouldn't even mind if they ranked Gamrot now. He beat Garam Kutateledze in a razor close fight, don't get me wrong, but he's arguably undefeated 20-0. 3-0 in the UFC. He just dominated Jeremy Stephens. Zabit struggled. You know what I mean? So Mateusz Gamrot, levels. Levels to the game. Dominated Jeremy Stephens. Very clear win. Looking forward to his future, man. And he's got good personality. He's hype. I like Mateusz Gamrot. Poland is on the map. And they're doing very well right now in MMA. So they could be a powerhouse in the future for sure. Mateusz Gamrot, amazing win. Great finish. Man, we got a guy. We got another guy at lightweight, man. They're monsters over there. Marion Reneau versus Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate gets a job done by third round TKO. A little bit uneventful of a fight. I picked Marion Reneau to win. I live bet on Miesha Tate. I didn't like the way it was looking, so I actually got Miesha Tate and Rodolfo Vieira in a parlay, even though I had Reneau and Stoltzfus in another parlay. I had these two in a parlay together. Miesha Tate, Rodolfo Vieira. Miesha Tate just did more every round. In the first round, she landed better shots, got a takedown at one point, landed good shots on the ground. Round 1 is hers. Round 2, she did eat a couple of good shots, couple of good right hands landed from Marion Reneau, but she just was too big, too strong, pushed her against the cage, kneed her in the fire, punched her to the body, kneed her to the body, took her down. Landed some total strikes of ground and pound at the end of round 2. Marion Reneau started to gas out eventually. A lot of body shots were landing from Miesha Tate. And eventually they ended up. Knees on the ground, the body shots on the ground, the constant attempts at scrambling. Eventually Marion Reneau started to gas out in the third. And Miesha Tate put the pressure on and got a TKO win on the ground. Again, a little bit of a weird stoppage, but Reneau wasn't moving anywhere. She kind of just gave in and accepted defeat at that point. So, good win from Miesha Tate. She gets the job done. Good win. She made a comeback. I reckon her versus Holly Holm next wouldn't be that bad, but we'll see how it goes down. Miesha Tate, great win. She's back in the mix, and she looked hot, so always good to see Miesha's Taters in there. Moving on up the card, Islam Makhachev versus Thiago Moises. I've just made a full card reaction to this. I've just made a full fight reaction to this. Makhachev versus Moises. It was a good win. For a guy to beat a number 14 lightweight in the world, it's a great win. Like, it's Islam Makhachev, number 9 versus number 14. He beat number 14. He didn't lose a round. He submitted him in the 4th. It was a good win from Islam Makhachev. He did not, to me, look like a guy who beats the top 5 opponents. So I think if anyone out there right now is actually saying that the top 5 guys are scared of Islam Makhachev, they're so delusional. You can't say that now. Like, in my opinion, McGregor is sitting there plotting that he could maybe beat Islam Makhachev. Because Thiago Moises, I like him. He's a nice guy. If he did lose to Bobby Green, he'd be 3-4 in the UFC. He wouldn't be ranked. And he should have lost to Bobby Green. It was a robbery. He shouldn't have got that win at all. He got doubled every round on strikes and had one moment of a submission attempt in all 3 rounds. In no way should that have gone to Thiago Moises. Because it did, he was number 14 because he got a razor close win over Alexander Hernandez as well. I've never been impressed by Moises, and Makhachev didn't impress me, man. Moises got takedowns, he had submission attempts, he landed good shots on the feet. Makhachev did way more every round, don't get me wrong. He had more takedowns, more top control, more submission attempts, more shots on the feet as well. But I see a beatable man. I see a very beatable man in Islam Makhachev. It was a good win, but was it the crushing performance that makes fucking Justin Gaethje shit his pants? No, it wasn't. I think Gaethje could beat Makhachev quite convincingly. We'll see how it goes, though. I wouldn't be picking him against the top 5 guys right now. That's changed my mind on that. I think he would be the underdog against the top 5 guys. If he went out there and submitted Moises round 2, 3 and dominated him on the feet and just smashed him into a pulp, he would probably maybe be the favourite against some top guys. Now I don't think he will be. I reckon he'll be the underdog against some top 5 guys. Before he was a minus 500 favourite over RDA. I think this time they fight, he'll be a slight favourite, like a minus 180, minus 170, minus 160. Islam Makhachev is good, but beatable, in my opinion. But a great win. It's Thiago Moises. He's a good fighter. He was ranked number 14, incorrectly or not. He was number 14, so Makhachev got a win against him and finished him by submission. And Moises is a jiu-jitsu guy, so it was a good win, but just not Not the legendary Makhachev we've heard all the stories about. You know what I'm saying? Not the guy who's better than Khabib and will go on to be better, because Khabib was 10-8 rounding Edson Barboza. Dominating him. Smashing him to a fucking pulp. Battering him. Barboza looked scared in there. Looking up at the clock. When will this end? Bang! Bang! Khabib smashing the shit out of him. Michael Johnson, Khabib is talking to him. Twisting his arm up. Smashing him on the ground. Talking to him. In the middle of doing all of these 10-8 rounds. Makhachev is edging out close rounds against less than top 10 competition. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Makhachev won. Wasn't wowed, but it was a good win. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.